Welcome to Chump Chat, the Big Chumps official podcast. I would say I am your host, GarboArtist or Lorenzo, but it's only the two of us, so not much of a host going on. It's going to be just us every week, forever, unless we have a guest. Maybe.
And it's really in need of one more person to be distinguished as a host.
Potentially.
Maybe.
Let me get out my notes and stop getting texts from people all of a sudden.
All of a sudden.
Yeah, everyone and their mama on Discord apparently wanted to text me at this exact moment in time.
You know, why later when you can do it now, you know?
You know what? That's fair. The universe always finds a way to bring people into my vicinity when I don't want to be bothered. You know what I mean?
You know, maybe that's when you need someone the most. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I won't lie. There's times where I want to be left alone, you know, cry on the couch and just think about life. And that's when I could use someone. And that's also when that is when I get bothered.
So, like,
right
the
now,
best time.
Yeah, but right now when I'm working is not the time for me to get bothered.
Okay.
So I have a couple note points. It's this is Chump Chat episode 1. There's not a whole lot of topics just because we decided yesterday before we set on recording this today that we wanted to do more of an introductory video, and then the back half will be a little bit of the just some random conversations we might have thought of or spurred on. Maybe a story or two if either of us have any. I actually do have a story.
Oh, nice.
That happened on the way home and at work today.
Okay.
But we can knock out the bullet points real quick. There's 4 short ones.
Nice.
The first one was let's talk about who we are individually and together.
Okay.
Because this might be the intro to the channel as well, if I don't edit the other stuff first.
Okay. I'll go ahead and let you go first.
So, my name is Lorenzo. I'm also known as GarboArtist on the interwebs. I draw sometimes cursed art, sometimes good art, depends on how I'm feeling. I also stream on twitch.tv and have a YouTube channel. I play a lot of Valorant right now, or any Nintendo games with my buddies that are VTubers. And that's about it. I like to think I'm a pretty funny, goofy guy. If I'm not and I'm cringe, I apologize, but if you're here watching, you've already buckled up for the ride. So,
all right.
What about you?
All right. And then I am Pree. Pretty average guy here. You know, I'm just here for the ride, to be honest. You know, I'm not a streamer or, you know, anything of that sort as of yet. Maybe in the near future, you know, we could think about me being in my own sort of thing.
Little
but
solo
for now,
channel action.
You know, for now, you know, being part of one of two, you know, sounds like a great idea in my head.
Yes, that's 50% of the work right there.
Yeah, you know, maybe hopefully lighten the load off of, you know, your stress. And then see where this takes us, you know?
Nah, it won't be any stress. That's actually a good segue into what we're planning on doing, just because our channel, the YouTube channel, is going to be pretty chill content, just relaxed stuff that me and Pree would do in our, you know, normal hanging out adventures. Nothing over the top that we wouldn't already do. We just figured a lot of the stuff that we talk about and the stuff that we do would be pretty entertaining for the camera, you know?
All right, well, you know, I like to believe that life is better enjoyed with others.
Absolutely.
And if I can share a little bit of sunshine in someone else's day, then, you know, I feel like I've done the universe some justice.
Oh, yeah. We actually recorded some stuff for this channel. It's already been 8 months since that happened. That was, like, very early on in our last homes, right?
Yes, yeah.
So, like, we're almost to the year mark at this point of having started some stuff for this. And we put ourselves through a lot of, jackass level pain in, like, our first recording.
which I will say was pretty fun.
No, that was absolutely fun. Like I think that we could have waited a little longer to structure that better, but I'm glad it didn't. I'm glad it didn't hit the showroom floor, because now we can actually like think on something better, like the same idea but better.
Yeah,
So
I concur. I concur.
So if you like seeing people not maim themselves, but definitely suffer a little bit and cry on the inside and the outside for your amusement, there will be some of that happening here. So if that's what you're into, you found the right people.
Yeah, and just to point off of the top of my head, what kind of games should we expect? Or what type of videos in general should we expect?
Like what should the audience expect? Is that like
exactly?
Yeah. So you and I have talked a lot. I think we can say the show names that we've thought of so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
And give a little synopsis.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things. Do you want to talk about your big thing yourself, or do you want me to introduce that one?
I can go talk about my thing myself. Yeah.
Okay. So generally, then, something that we talked about a lot is a lot of couch co-op stuff is what we want to do. Like not unlike the Game Grumps or like Super Mega and like all the couch co-op channels. We want to put our own flavor on that format because, like I said a little bit ago, like nothing that we record isn't something we'd already do for ourselves, and we like to generally just like chill together and do nothing half the time, honestly. So we figured, if we're going to sit here and do nothing, we might as well, play some couch co-op games that we normally wouldn't play, like, on our own or, like, with a relative or our partners, and just turn it into some dumb fuckery for a little bit.
Some content,
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
We have a couple specific shows, and what I mean by shows, I'll explain in a minute when we elaborate on what's happening with our content format and the way we're going to use our platforms. But go ahead and introduce your show that you wanted to do for the channel.
So, one big belief I have, right, is, not everything is garbage, And not everything needs to be the top end quality, right?
Absolutely.
So
the rink-a-dink, if you will.
Yes. I love a good old rink-a-dink. And one of my favorite things to play are the green light, the indie title, non-AAA, just, usually 2 hours worth of fun.
Right.
So, my idea was it's going to be called Pree's Bargain Bin, right? And I'm going to be playing pretty much indie games, but more importantly, games, that the general majority should be able to purchase, if not get for free, through various methods.
Like, akin to like Epic Games weekly free releases and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember if we decided on Epic Game free launches.
Yeah. So pretty much in that spec, and I'm hoping to get a lot of games, just so we can do some sort of a way to get through all of them. So have it be like a Wheel of Fortune, in a sense, or some sort of like RNG number generator.
And we also didn't exclusively mark that to like PC titles that are on sale or like the free Epic Games stuff, because we own a lot of vintage consoles, and we also said that if we ever went into like the GameStop and we found like a cheap game for an older console we wanted to play, or we both live separately at the moment. We used to be roommates, and we would go to like the mom and pop game shops, and if we found any older games that were a bargain, if you will, we said that we would play those games as well. So there's honestly, between the physical games and the digital games that you and I own, there's already a lot on the list, right?
Yeah. So we already have a good bunch, and we're just waiting to get that rolling, to be honest.
Sometimes the games might be one-offs too. They might not be we might not vibe with the game, so it might be a one-off, not like a full stream or a full episode, depending on how we format that show.
Yeah, if I'm just skateboarding for 3 hours, I might just have to cut that into like a 5-minute video and
Like,
just
honestly,
call it a day.
We might have to go buy some skateboards and just break them out of spite.
Yeah, like, so we're gonna have a great time figuring out the creators' dream of their own game. But I have a lot of hope for that.
Oh yeah. I think like when you and I started talking about doing the YouTube channel, and that was like you pitched a show name out the gate. I was like, Pree's Bargain Bin is something that you can very clearly can glean what is happening. Like you know what's happening with that game, or with that show. Like you could put Pree's Bargain Bin on the top of the playlist like title, and you're gonna understand like, oh, this is probably like a discount games show or something like that.
Oh yeah, because
So
personally, right, there are a lot of games, right, and I'm sure you've personally have gone onto Steam, and they have Steam sales like the summer sale, and there are games that cost roughly 50 cents. Absolute like catastrophe of a game.
Yeah.
But some of them are bangers.
Yeah.
So my hope is
the one
we
egg
bring
out
those
of the
bangers. Yeah, like I can find the diamond in the rough.
Right.
Hopefully, that's my hope.
The one egg that the Walmart employee didn't crack when they put the rinky-dink 12-pack carton out there.
That's my dream for that series.
Absolutely. No, that I'm super excited to reconfigure my office for you to come over and us actually like do the couch format for that one, because that was like that one was the peak content that we have planned already.
Yeah, and then there's a whole bunch of other content that I personally want to do too. I really like the fact that the world has a lot of places to explore and see. Like not life, or sorry, life is not subjected to the house and the computer screen.
I didn't even think about talking about that, because you and I have been talking about IRL stuff like the last 5 days.
Yeah,
a lot. And we're already 20 minutes in, and we haven't even given the notion that we're doing more than just like gaming content on the internet.
Yeah, well, because that's what I want Big Chumps to be more than just gaming content. I want it to be Big Chumps life, almost, per se, right?
Yeah. Like Big Chumps go to Disneyland, Big Chumps go to Albuquerque, New Mexico, like bunch of it could not even be about the destination. It could just be about the dumb stuff that we do on the way to a destination.
Exactly. Because
we could go to Austin, Texas for a convention, and you guys could get 5 episodes of what happened in each state in between here and there.
Yeah, man. And honestly, I just want the world to see that sometimes you just need to go outside and touch some grass.
What's that? I did write down what we like to do, like hobbies wise, as a bullet note, but I kind of already covered. Like I draw, I play games, I go to work, I sleep, I have a girlfriend.
Yeah, and
my girlfriend's not my hobby, but
I was gonna just bring that up, but yeah, perfect. But even for myself, I go to school. I spend a lot of my time playing games that don't require me to try as much as the game I'm playing right now, Peggle, by the way.
Valorant.
I am very much the type of person to play for an hour and then step away from the computer.
Oh yeah, dude. Yesterday was something else. We have, what is it? I can't read my whiteboard. we have 2 games that we recorded an hour of each yesterday. One of them was an absolute nightmare to record just because we both we couldn't get our shit together at all. And then the second one was funny just because we knew it was a ridiculous game to open the channel on. But that's what made it fun for us.
Yeah, and I just want to put that out there too. If I'm not enjoying it,
oh, we're
it's
done.
not.
It's
not going up.
Everyone gets one. Everyone gets one. Because I think one of the things we tried recording, we tried recording Valorant, we tried recording Fortnite. Don't ask for it. We might play it on stream, or I'll play it with Pree on my stream, my personal stream, GarboArtist, on Twitch. Do not ask us to play them on the channel, because we won't. We won't get extra friends and do a 5-stack or a full team on Fortnite. We just didn't enjoy it, and not because we don't enjoy those games. We didn't feel like we were engaging with you guys, and that's the point of YouTubing, or streaming. We want to be able to, crack funnies, but also let the audience know that we are here for you guys. Otherwise, we would just be doing this in our spare time on our own without a camera on.
Yeah.
So at this point, we have a pretty good idea of what we want to do and how we want to do it. So if you see a video go up, understand that might be the only video forever. It might be a one and done. We said our minimum recording time is going to be an hour for everything, and it's very possible we just decide to take all the funniest bits out of 1 hour, and that's a 15-minute video, and we're done forever with that game.
And so just to add on to what he was saying, he is a very stubborn guy when it comes to choosing a type of game.
Oh yeah.
So don't expect almost all variety unless it's in my bargain bin.
I think because there was a lot of suggestions yesterday. Well, the 2 games we played yesterday were out of the Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
There was a very good variety of games thrown out there from both of us.
Yeah.
And I think the 2 that we chose is just the middle ground of the funny, goofy stuff that we both want to play. So I'll give some leeway. I'll play some stuff that I don't normally want to play, but I think I will force myself to apply to the everyone gets a one and done rule.
All right, so 1 hour minimum is what you get out of him.
Yeah, everyone gets an hour minimum. If I don't like the game that we're playing, then we're done. We and the same goes for you. If I love the game, if I think it's hilarious or I'm having a good time playing it, if I see you're not happy with it, we're done. We get an hour, we're done. And I'm gonna hold myself to that same standard. If I don't like it, I'm gonna try and give it the college try for the hour, and then after the recording, I'll be like, hey man, I really wasn't feeling that game. I'm sorry if my commentary wasn't there,
Yeah, see, and I'm just gonna apologize for all of the games that have a tutorial that take longer than an hour. And I'm just gonna cry. I'm just that video is probably just gonna get canned, and we're just gonna go on the next. We're just gonna FF and go next. To be honest,
that was a League of Legends reference for yous that aren't degenerates.
Or Valorant.
Yeah, FF is a thing in Valorant too.
Mm-hmm. Or any game that has a forfeit mechanic.
I don't know what else has a forfeit. Overwatch doesn't have a forfeit mechanic. You just leave that shit. But yeah, I think that the tutorial thing actually made me laugh on the inside a lot, because it's that's kind of the make or break for a game, right? How engaged you can be in that starting phase of any game.
Yeah.
How handholdy it is, or how much it shows off what you're going to be doing in the game. But also, it is what it is,
Yeah, that's why I got to throw that apology out there right now. Because I do believe that there are wonderful games that, honestly, just take too much time out of my day to try and learn. And hopefully absolutely. Someone else enjoys it as much as you did making it,
Mm. And that's going to be one of the difficulties that you and I will face, because there's a lot of single player story game, like story based games that you and I have both played, I can tell you right now, if you ask me to play Kingdom Hearts 1 or Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, that's the PSP one, on the channel, I am going to rip my hair out. I think both of those games in the starting phase are scathing. I hate it. There's so much wordiness, there's so much hand-holding happening in the tutorials of those games. And it's just like, let me get to the game, let me speed run just so I can get to the actual game portion, you know?
So are you a guy that likes story-driven games? Or are you just in it for the action? You know, like, are you a cutscene skipper? Or are you the story watcher? You know.
So I'm in a weird space with that, actually, and I'm glad you asked, because I meant to talk to you about this yesterday. I skipped a couple of the cutscenes yesterday when we played one of those games, and part of it is I think I've become more impatient, and I want to get to the meat of the game. But like, if you can get me truly invested in the game, like I bought a PS5, December last year when we were at the apartment together?
Yeah.
So I bought that PS5. I immediately bought Spider-Man for PS4, the remastered version for the PS5, and I bought Spider-Man Miles Morales. And Pree could not get me to move from my desk or the TV for 2 weeks? I took my time playing that game.
It was a very long time.
Yeah, like not even 2 week long games. Part of it was I was just too busy with like normal life stuff, but also just I was taking my time to do side missions. I was enjoying myself as much as possible and immersing myself in the story. But I can tell you for sure, if I'm replaying like Kingdom Hearts, I have the speedrun like skip cutscene memorized. Like it's muscle memory at this point.
Okay.
And then there's just some games where I'm just not in it at all. Like I'm there for the lulz, like the game that we played yesterday, and I'm gonna ADHD spaz and press the A button to skip whatever's happening. Like I don't care about your story, buddy. I just want to get to it. Or like Tower of Fantasy, right? I'm not there for the story. It's a MMO. I don't care about your story. I'm sorry. I'm getting bits and pieces of it, and I am like starting to watch more of it, or I'm going back and watching cutscenes if I miss a detail. But for the most part, like a lot of the opening part of Tower of Fantasy, I skipped all that. I skipped all of it. I'm sorry. The first chapter of that game, I got nothing out of it. No joy.
I wish I could input like some sort of opinion, but I personally haven't played it, and I think I have no intentions of playing it. So that one is all you.
MMO. Yeah, like I was never into WoW. I was a little bit into like when I was a kid. I was into Wizard 101. But like I never got into WoW. I never got into Genshin or Honkai Impact. I wasn't into those games. Bad Moon, my girlfriend was very into is very into Genshin. I believe your girlfriend's also into Genshin.
Yeah.
But those are games that I just couldn't, for some reason, nothing about it caught my attention and made me go like, ooh, I want to play this game.
You weren't into the anime waifu? Collect them all?
No, I don't know if it's the gacha thing that made me not like it, or if it's just, like, I don't think the gameplay also encouraged me enough to want to play that. And it's weird because the way that I'm playing Tower of Fantasy is very much like it has a stamina bar mechanic where like you get a stamina bar, you can climb any wall, you can do this like boost jump and then glide, and it takes your stamina over time. And that's all very like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild-y for me. That's what I can attribute it to.
Okay.
But the view, or like the aesthetic and the looks of it all is very like SAO-y meets Borderlands aesthetic. And I'm super for that. Like I believe you said you were into Borderlands 2 when we were younger as well, right? Or like you were down to play it with the boys back in the day.
Oh yeah, Borderlands I was down to play with everyone, yeah.
Yeah. Like just a visually appealing game, and I had a lot of fun playing it. So like seeing the game look that way, and then it just, you know, anime characters. It's anime, you know.
Anime collect them up. Yeah.
So I'm getting a lot out of that game. I definitely sink way too much time into it, and because the server reset is like at 2 a.m, my sleep schedule has been fucked for like the last 2 weeks.
You know, and that's so crazy that you have that like MMO drive, right? Because I was a WoW player.
Yeah.
And for me, I was always trying to farm some material. I was always trying to get the best armor, the best first to max level on the server.
Yeah.
Never got first on the server though. You know, very unfortunate. But, you know, honestly, I think it's because I've gotten older.
Mm-hmm.
I take the moderation alert a lot more seriously.
Oh yeah. No, there was a realization in this last 7-day period where I was like, because I mean, I haven't publicly announced any of the projects I'm working on. I'm working on quite a bit right now, outside of my regular 9 to 5 and school. I'm also going to school. You know, because I told you yesterday, but between everything that I'm working on professionally and then just playing games for my leisure, because we also talked about how like doing YouTube and Twitch kind of means I can't play things at my leisure because the genuine reactions, you know, gone. You know, I missed that moment on camera. So the things I've resigned myself to playing a lot of Tower Fantasy because I don't intend on sharing that experience with anyone. And because it's an MMO, you're gonna, like, anyone can join that experience with me in the moment if they really wanted to. You know, maybe I'll play it on stream once or twice just for fun. Like, I'll go grind materials. Because that's what MMOs become after the story shit's, you know, done.
Pretty much, yeah.
But, like, even that, it's like, I've realized I don't, and I said these words specifically to you yesterday, I don't have the time and energy to expend playing all these video games that I want to play. And there's a lot of games I want to play right now that I haven't. You know, I have a not a top tier rig for a computer, but a very decent rig. I have new gen hardware consoles, and I'm just so busy in my personal life and professional life that I don't have the energy to expend on that. And even Bad Moon was telling me the other night, like, dude, you're messing up your sleep schedule and you're killing yourself just to enjoy this game because it, you know, it's giving you something. Like, you're having fun playing this game and being to yourself for, you know, whatever amount of time you play. And it's like, it's crazy because I also said this verbatim to you yesterday. We're just getting older. You know, we don't have the time and energy to expend on that stuff anymore.
You know, and I think we should include our age, because I don't think it is the number per se. I think it's more so the amount of stress in our own personal lives and just our situations, to where I feel like I am more mentally drained. That my age number, you know, is supposed to have, right?
That's fair, because we discussed, like, since moving and since my career change in my my 9 to 5 job, I'm a lot less stressed out right now, which is why I can probably push myself a little harder to, you know, take a nap, wake up at 2 a.m. and play Tower Fantasy for a little bit.
Yeah.
Or go play a couple games of Valo on stream at 2 a.m. But I just think it's crazy. I think it's a trip to see how you, me, and our high school friends would literally be up to, like, God, what was it? I think the worst was when we were grinding out all the heists for GTA. Because we'd be up to like 3 or 4 in the morning, dude. And we'd have school those days.
And we were still on the same mission for 4 hours.
Oh yeah, we literally 4 hours, try like days at a time. I think I joined on the second heist, and that took us. I'm trying to recall exactly when we finished the last main heist. I have to say that was months later because I don't even think I was living in my childhood house when we finished.
And it's a lot more than just we suck, by the way. It was more so. It was almost impossible to get us all on at the same time, and
Which
it was
is why
extreme.
we were up till the middle of the night, or like I joined GTA very late, so all of these guys were like level 80 or closer to 100, or past 100, and I had to get better cars for the missions, better guns, because you only start with the pistol in that game.
Yeah.
So like all this time to it's interesting to say we had to grind out GTA because you wouldn't think GTA Online's a grinding game. You do have to grind. You have to grind to get stuff in that game too.
Yeah, and well, that's because we didn't want to get the cash money drops, that the very lucky people were giving out for free, and we didn't want to get the cash money cards. Spend the IRL for the in-game dollars.
We were kids. We didn't have the money because
yeah.
It would be, another year till you were 16 and had a car to go start working?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like that GTA 5 era was... And even before that, was very... We worked with what we got just because we were kids.
Oh, yeah. And that also... I feel like that definitely attributes to, like, the most stressful thing we had was, like, finals on any given week of the year.
And I didn't even do homework in high school. But I had to pass the final,
Which is crazy because your grades and my grades were a very far margin apart from each other.
Yeah, it was. I don't know how I got really well. I'd taken the final to the point where I didn't do any homework. I don't even remember opening the book.
Yeah, I remember opening books, but I remember our good friend we play Yu-Gi-Oh with. I would open his book because he wrote in it.
Oh, you just got all his answers, huh?
I did study with him occasionally at lunch or like in between classes, but 9 times out of 10, me and him were playing Yu-Gi-Oh, or me and him would play Yu-Gi-Oh with you at lunch, and then he'd be like, "You didn't do your homework, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Homework was a trip.
It was. I mean, I'm losing my mind over here. I talked to my mother today, right? Because I have a little brother. He's 6 years old. He just started first grade. And apparently his teacher isn't handing out homework for another month or 2 months.
Hey, you know, I have this idea, right? I have this idea. So I think the biggest struggle in the education system, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that we aren't learning at a reasonable pace. Mm-hmm. I think they're trying to force us to learn almost everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
To the point where it becomes overwhelming, to the point where we're forced to learn so much in so little time.
I also believe that it's not being made obviously you can't cater to make information digestible for every single kid. It's not possible.
Yeah.
You can definitely make it a more conducive learning environment, though. In the town that you and I grew up in, they did not, the education system did not make learning, I'm not going to say fun, because fun is very subjective, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't make us want to learn. There was nothing about our environment that said, hey, learning is cool and you're going to get something out of it. That's something that you and I, for sure, both pulled out of just being alive and, skipping class or just being out in the world. Like, the desire for knowledge was acquired by communicating with other humans in the regular world.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of that. I do agree. See, and then what's really crazy to think about, too, as you said, learning is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
But what I found so interesting, how many times at our schools, high school, elementary school, middle school, did you do anything outside of the classroom or hands-on? Very minimal. right?
I was gonna say if it wasn't a science class or like I took an IT class in middle school and high school.
Oh, okay.
If it wasn't a technical class, like my middle school had a metal and woodworking shop, but only like it was only allowed for 1 year because obviously that's a very coveted, desirable, like not trade, but I forget what the word they use for those now was. Like an extra class you don't have to take.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Like if you were in drama club,
just some like extracurricular.
Yeah. Like those kind of classes were very coveted because obviously you're not sitting in a class reading, Miss Worcestershire's fucking To Kill a Mockingbird copy of the book.
Yeah. Not very
not dull, not
the
watered
education
down.
curriculum. Yeah.
Yeah. And I get that there's a standard. I think math and English are always going to be required to be a standard, and I understand that not every teacher can make the content engaging. English is pretty boring. The only time I've seen anyone, including myself, engage in English is when creative writing hits the table.
And I actually had a conversation about this with one of my teachers in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the psychology teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And it had to deal with what ways could you display information, right?
Yeah.
In a history class, there is exhibits, there are videos, there's writing, right? And there's a whole bunch of different ways to see that information that we had to learn. And it's crazy when you bring it into English. There could be potential information on it, but for the most part, a video is not going to teach you how to read.
Absolutely not.
So, like, in the English teacher's defense, or in the majority of teachers' defense, there isn't much you can do.
Yeah, there's no additional medians to show that off. Like I remember my ninth grade English teacher, right? She wanted us to the class to read together Romeo and Juliet. There's a lot of parts for you to read in the playwright.
Yeah.
And she figured that would be the most engaging way. And this wasn't her first class. She was at that school for like, well, I don't even remember what she said. She told my class, it was like 18 years or something. She was there for a while. She was an older teacher. I think you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So, but her resolve to have us read Romeo and Juliet, the playwright, required the students to still want to be engaged to the point where they will not be shy reading those parts, or they're not gonna. And so Romeo took the bottle and drank like that, like that kind of
very very robotic.
Yeah, monotone, no emotion. So absolutely, I will not fault an English teacher, guys. If you're an English teacher or you're planning on being an English teacher, I commend you because I know how much work you're putting in. It's not easy, especially when you're dealing with kids too. As a known previous kid or teenager, I have ADHD. I was diagnosed with ADHD when it was at its worst, and I could not pay attention for anything in class. This guy knows. Me and my other best buddy, we'd play Yu-Gi-Oh! Every single day in all of our classes and at lunch. You couldn't get me to pay attention in class to save my life. You couldn't. I'm sorry. I had some math teachers over the years that they tricked us into learning really fast by saying like, hey, I don't give a shit about what the standard is. I'm going to show you how to get this answer. I'm going to make it as efficient and painless for you as possible. I learned something called the lattice method, where it's basically you make a bunch of boxes, you make diagonal slashes from the left is the bottom, the top right is the line, and you line up the regular squares. So like, let's say I'll probably put an example on the screen for this. Say my number is 5,621, right? And I gotta multiply it times 56.
Yeah.
You would cross, like, you'd like Sudoku style, you'd line up the numbers, you'd solve it. If it's every single digit multiplication answer is going to be less than a 2-digit number, or a 2-digit number or less.
Yeah.
9 times 9 is 81. That is the highest number you can possibly get out of single digit multiplication.
Yeah.
And that's basic timetables. You don't have to do, you learn this in 3rd grade. If you didn't, you're probably still in 3rd grade. I'm sorry. So I'll do an easier number so I can do it in my head real quick. 42 times 26. 42, so you line up the 2s, 0 in the top diamond, 4 in the bottom. And then you keep doing it in that manner. And then you get your answer by adding up the numbers down in the diagonal column that you made. So I don't have a piece of paper on my iPad with me, so I can't like draw this out. But essentially, in a T fashion, you line up your numbers, you solve the number, and you have 2 slots for your first digit and your second digit. Yep. You add them all up if they're in the same column, and every single time you will get the right answer. And I learned that in 4th grade. A 4th grade teacher taught me that, and I bested an 11th grade teacher in a multiplication contest. I literally said, "Teacher, you could use a calculator if you wanted to. You will not get answers faster than me if we're multiplying." And my teacher said, "You're full of shit. And just to prove it, I'm going to do all this in my head because I'm an 11th grade teacher who's 46. You are a, 17-year-old at the time?"
You were a young whippersnapper.
Yeah, he straight up told me, there is no way in fucking hell you are going to do math more accurately and faster than me. I got $50 from that teacher that day, and I got an A on the next test. Swear to God.
Poor guy. You bullied that professor, or that teacher, sorry.
And that's the power of an engaging teacher. That 4th grade teacher, he teaches 4th grade. You would think that an 11th grade teacher either is smarter or has a firmer grasp on advanced curriculum in order to teach it, right? But essentially, by teaching me that method and me carrying it from the 4th grade into the 11th grade, that 4th grade teacher said, "Hey, you're full of shit. I'm going to prove I'm smarter than you." I should have split that $50 with that teacher, but he wasn't at the school anymore.
Poor guy.
I actually checked. I called that my elementary school to try and reach out to him. He's not there anymore, and I was very sad.
Oh.
Which is fine. I hope he's doing well. He probably had a career change or he's teaching somewhere else. It is what it is. But I thought that was crazy that teacher was able to get me engaged in math. So like math is my favorite subject. Barring conventional science like robot or advanced sciences like robotics and chemistry and stuff, math is my favorite subject. And I think part of that is because this teacher gave me the tools to make my entire life easier doing math. Now, if you ask me to re-dive into like fucking, I was gonna say pre-cal, but even algebra 2, like you probably lost me. I'm not gonna lie. But like, I was engaged enough, and it clearly stuck with me. It resonated with me that much that I held it twice my lifetime later, and to this day I could probably still do that shit like flawlessly. I think that if schools made curriculum more engaging, if they made it digestible to the average human, tiny human, I should say, I think graduation rates would be higher. Not only would graduation rates be higher, I don't want to get into controversial topics for very long, but honestly, a lot of like dropouts and the trouble that teenagers get into would probably be lower if they were more engaged and wanted to be at school, you know?
And one point I want to bring up, right?
Yeah.
As a kid, the importance and the value of school, right, doesn't really resonate.
No, not at all.
So the kid doesn't understand how hard it would be to get a normal job without any form of the piece of paper that states that you got the basic understanding of what an average person should have. Absolutely. By the way, you know.
And that's how you and I both rationalized it when we were teenagers. You and I would frequently skip school. We'd either oversleep because we had to go to work, or we were at work, or we just skipped school because it was like, I don't need a piece of paper to tell me I'm smart. I already know I'm smarter. I'm probably smarter than my teacher. I would say that all the time. Yeah. And you and I would both rationalize, I need to go make money because I'm 16 and I need to start, solidifying my financial future.
Yeah.
But then fast forward even a year, right? We both turn into seniors, and we're like, oh, this is kind of important.
Yeah, like we should have paid attention when I had the chance. You know?
And not because we were stupid, like book smart or, you know, just general intelligence. We just needed that information to be able to pass the test like flawlessly, because now we're both in college and we could have probably made this all a lot easier on ourselves by just being ahead of the curve then.
Or not even being ahead of the curve, being alongside the curve.
Well, I wouldn't say we're not, because like the reason that you and I are still in college right now is because we took time off to go work still. You know, I was kicked out of my house by my parents at a young age. So I had to value working and having money in my pocket very fast. And,
see, so another point, right, that I was aiming towards was how much effort did you put in at that younger age, you know, compared to what we should have been, right? That's what I mean by on the curve, right?
Infinitely more, absolutely. My first job, I'll publicly share this because I don't care. My social media is very public already. My first job was at Carl's Jr. I was a cashier at a Carl's Jr. I busted my ass and probably violated several state laws by working overtime because I wanted money in my pocket, and my boss said, "Hey, this is 2016, or I mean, 2016. It was midway through 2016. It was still $9. I'm not paying you over $9 because you're a fuckhead ass kid, and there's no reason for me to pay you more." And I was like, man, that sucks. But all the 18-year-olds that had their high school diplomas were getting $11 and $12. And the store manager of that Carl's Jr. had 2 degrees. He had an associate's and a bachelor's degree in separate topics.
That's a smart guy.
He was making $25 an hour in 2016. $25 an hour is still an uncommon pay rate to get today in 2022, where the pay rate in California, at least, is what, $15, $16?
Yeah, depending on where you live, right?
So seeing that made me realize this guy would get shit on by most humans for being a store manager at a Carl's Jr. Because who fucking cares? You're no one important. You're just the Carl's Jr. guy. But he's the guy that's probably making more money than you to be able to afford his fancy-ass house in the next city over, which is where he lived. I saw that, and I was like, I want that. I got my shit together so fast. I had a lot of, catching up to do. But immediately, by just being alive and experiencing the world and observing the world, I realized the importance of what was trying to be done for me. But I can firmly say, as an adult who's doing well for himself at this moment in time, that the stuff that was done for me, I think could have been done better. And that's an argument we hear a lot in social media, right? Like, you go on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, whatever. A lot of the next generation's already complaining, like, man, the school system and the government don't do anything for me, right? They haven't done a lot for you, and they won't do more for you because they expect you to contribute to society.
And that is honestly the biggest advice I think I would have given myself if I was able to talk to my past former self. I would say, you honestly get out what you put in.
Yeah. 100%.
And take that as serious to heart in any situation you put yourself in. That you put yourself in, you know?
Yep, because it wouldn't be for another 2 to 6 years, or 2 to 3 years, that you and I both saw the rewards out of that. You, from a year after I started working, because it took you a while to get your first job.
Yeah.
You were working 2 jobs, and still are for the most part.
Yeah.
Your schedule is a little different now because you're prioritizing school, but you have always had to put in the extra effort to get extra out of what you do.
Yeah. And that's honestly my motivation has always been the only person that will ever help me is myself.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, the other guy does not benefit from my success.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, he will never put his hand out farther to save me in any situation.
Absolutely, 100%. And you and I in the last the last 12 months, you and I both experienced that when we had job changes.
Yeah, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah,
I believe we two are both pretty hard workers, and I think we are one of the last people to care in our respective jobs.
Right. Well, and it's crazy to say because like my previous job was a shift manager at a grocer. I was with that store, or not the specific store, but I was with that company for 4 years. That I was there equal to the amount of time I spent in high school. Only for me to be I don't want to give too much about it just because I don't want it to seem super victimizing or like making myself out to be the victim, because I could have handled that situation better too. But I was unceremoniously removed from my position and my job in total. Like no chance of transferring, no chance of changing my position with the company. Just that the people who were in charge of me at the time decided that because I wanted to, I was going to relocate my house. I was moving. They decided because I wasn't playing for their team that they didn't owe me anything and such. They did not take the steps that I needed them to take for me in order to, move on with my process,
Yeah.
And you saw that from the inside because I got you hired at that exact job for a little while because you needed to get your second job again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to see it from my perspective, and you got to see it from the inside how they were handling it, and it was just it was just
a complete mess.
Yeah, it was a shit show. It like that's the only way to describe that, because like you said, no one's gonna do you any favor. Like I went hard for that specific store.
Yeah.
And even that company, like my first year there, I worked in the deli of that grocer franchise.
Yeah.
And I was there until midnight and sometimes 1 a.m. washing dishes in the deli. For a boss that didn't care about me, for $12 an hour when I first got that job. And I became a manager, and the minute I stopped wanting to be a manager for that specific store, they didn't care about me at all. And that's not to say everyone won't care about you, but like Pree said, no one's gonna go kill themselves to make sure you're comfortable still.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you got some super cool down-to-earth parents, like my very first location, they wanted me back. They even outright said, I want you back. I like you. I trained you to be a manager. I want you here since you're coming back to this area. And I said, cool. But because I wasn't scratching the other guy's back, he said, I don't care about you now. I owe you nothing. Have fun. Good luck. And that mentality is something that honestly I wish schools would apply. Like everyone complains about like, oh, schools don't teach my kids how to do taxes. They don't teach them about practical applications. Teach the kids about real world morals and how the world operates. I know it seems bleak and gloomy, but that's the way the world is sometimes. I'd rather have a son or a daughter, send them to school, and the teachers be realistic, like, hey, this is your job. Your job is to come here and listen to me for 30 minutes to 45 minutes, go to the next guy, listen to them for 30 to 45 minutes, and then you go home. That's your job. Call it a job. Stop calling it school.
Yeah, honestly.
Because kids need to understand your job is to go to school, get an education, come home and do whatever your parents say. And I know everyone doesn't like to hear that. I don't like to hear that. As an adult, I lived with the parents for a bit. I didn't like to hear that either. But realistically, you're earning your way by taking out the trash, by listening to the teachers, by doing whatever is asked of you as a child. You are earning your wage. And that might not be monetary, but guess what? You're taken care of. And if you're not taken care of,
life right there.
If you're listening to this and you're not taken care of, I'm genuinely sorry. I hope you go find proper channels to go get the care that you probably deserve. But that's the way the world is, and the school, I'm even gonna go as far as to say is that the United States education system in totality, because I've talked to plenty of people outside of our state that feel the same sentiment. Just school systems in general don't prepare us for the real world. They don't establish the morals and work ethics that we should have. And they could. They have the infrastructure to do it. You know,
see,
instead of
feeding... you know, one of the big reasons, right, is at the end of the day, a teacher is there to get paid. And that Absolutely. Is the unfortunate reality.
They are your supervisor. They are there to get their paycheck.
And unfortunately, if their belief is not getting paid enough, right, and that sort of light, I hope that one day we, as a society, can value the education system to make it so that financials shouldn't be that important to these people who make a difference in the future in realistic spec. You know?
Absolutely. The guy that I was talking about, my 4th grade teacher, absolutely needs to make a better wage than whatever he made as a 4th grade teacher. That man he taught me things that made me it wasn't super engaged my entire school career, but it made me engaged enough to stay in the building, you know? People because that's another aspect of being a teacher that people don't consider, or I imagine people don't consider. That's a childcare job. You're caring for children. Why am I paying $2,000 or plus for someone to go watch my 6-year-old brother when I can give that $2,000 to the school system, or the government can give the extra $2,000 to the school system so they can take care of the fucking kids? Why is the 16-year-old babysitter on Fiverr or Angie's List getting that money every month when we can make that a genuine profession and also a qualification? Just because we hear some pretty messed up things about the school system. Not every teacher's a bad apple, but there's definitely some teachers that should not be around children.
Yes, unfortunately, right? But that's the pay, right?
Right.
We need a guy employed. Someone needs to teach Jimmy in class 2-3, you know?
Absolutely. And sometimes that might be the guy that's about to get his associate's degree in teaching next year. I have actually met someone who did not have a full teaching credential yet. They were working on it. But they were the full teacher for that year.
And do you believe that we should allow those type of, new and upcoming teachers to be teachers like that, like full classroom teachers?
I think that someone like that could, my art teacher in high school, my freshman year, that was her first class ever.
Yeah.
I think she was not ready, because in my first week of having her at that school, because she started a month late, the first week of her being there, those high schoolers made her cry during class. They made her cry and they made her run out of the classroom. And I think that there's something to be said, you could be a starting teacher in high school. It's older people. There's not as much, it's not as necessary to care for them as high school. Once you're 15, 16, you could probably care for yourself. The odds are you know how to make yourself some Kraft macaroni and cheese. If you can cook for yourself, if you can wipe your butt, you could probably care for yourself. So I think the requirements are a little less rough. Younger kids probably need the older teacher, the 40, 50-year-old lady or dude that, has been doing it for a while. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. That's fair.
But I absolutely think that they should still be shadowed, or they should be shadowing an actual full-time teacher. Because I guarantee you, if the gym teacher that was subbing for us for that first month of my freshman year was in that classroom when the other kids made her cry, I guarantee you he would have put down the law in that classroom, the minute this first sentence that started, that snowball started.
Yeah.
Like, he absolutely would have stepped in and be like, hey, I've been I've been one of the coaches here. I've been teaching for forever at the school. Y'all aren't going to do this. Be respectful to her.
Which, by the way, we weren't exactly in one of the best of school areas.
Oh, yeah. You could define it as a ghetto school. That I would accept that term if you said that to me. Not all bad apples, but definitely not the best bunch you could buy. Might want to look at the next bunch over. And like because of that fact alone, you can make an argument like, oh, there's other schools that are nice and stuff. I transferred to a lot of different schools in my high school time, and I saw nice schools. No one was like that, teacher-wise or student-wise, at all of them. So obviously your results may vary as a teacher and as a student. But I definitely think there's something to be said that these teachers are doing childcare, and they are trying their hardest, and sometimes, that means they should be compensated better. If you have to go to, I don't remember what the requirements for a teaching credential are, but if you need to go to any amount of school in addition to just getting your associate's degree or bachelor's degree, we compensate people for being in university for 4 years. Why aren't we compensating teachers for doing the extra classes for that?
There you go.
That's a whole additional credential you need. Because it's not enough to just say, hey, I have a teaching credential, I want to go teach math, right? Well, why should you teach math? Oh, I have a bachelor's of science in mathematics. Oh, that's cool. Come be our math teacher, please. We have an associate's guy that we don't want anymore. I have, like, it's insane that all of this additional stuff is needed to be a teacher, and we're not treating them equally.
Yeah.
That's a different conversation, though. I feel like we went on our upbringing tangent, quite a bit. 30 to 45 minutes ago, I talked about how we were gonna talk about the platforms we're gonna use more. I just looked at my timer on Adobe Audition. We are past the hour already. So something that we plan on doing as Big Chumps is we have come to the agreement that we want to stream primarily on YouTube. We're going to use YouTube Gaming as our platform, as well as regular YouTube uploads.
Yeah.
Part of that's because I independently stream on Twitch. And I imagine Pree would also end up streaming on Twitch, but we wanted to see what both sides of that coin look like. And because I'm an affiliate with Twitch, so I'm technically in a contract, but we technically can see what both sides of it look like and see which platform we'd like better. Because we're fresh to the scene and we're not in a contract with YouTube. There's nothing wrong if we say, hey, we want to transition to Twitch full-time for streaming. And also, we do have some plans to use a Twitch channel for a specific function. We just haven't decided the format for that yet, and once we know, we'll make a formal announcement about how we're going to execute. But our platform is primarily going to be YouTube for streaming and for videos. And our Instagram channel. Our Instagram page is going to primarily just be like posts and reels updating like what we're doing, like maybe some behind the scenes videos, if we're out doing IRL stuff. But it's supplemental content, not meant to be the main content.
Yeah.
So it's meant to direct you guys in the direction of our YouTube channel, our Spotify, Apple Music, because this podcast will be on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube for more convenient access for everyone. So that's what we decided on. Obviously, we have a Twitter.
We have a Twitter.
Yeah, that's all I have to say. It's a Twitter.
We have a Twitter, by the way.
Twitter really has nothing additional going on for it. I think we had a conversation yesterday about how there's a petition for Instagram Reels to go away. Twitter is never going to see that problem. Twitter has not tried to be anything else since the dawn of its creation. Like, Twitter tried selling NFTs or using NFTs as like icon, like profile pictures for, or I think it still is, honestly. But I don't think Twitter ever tried to utilize these other things and they caught on. So Twitter's always been, hey, I'm just gonna post this random thought in my head and see what people think.
That's Twitter.
I think Twitter's very interesting, the way that its conception has brought it to where it is.
I personally don't have a Twitter, by the way.
Oh no, I'm
just to throw that out there.
I'm 100% expecting for you to take the Twitter login for the group Twitter and just post personal stuff off that too. If I ever see like a fried chicken recipe on the Big Chumps Twitter, I know it's you immediately.
That sounds like a great idea. We try chicken.
Yeah. So that's the game plan for platforms. And honestly, that's the end of the bullet points right there.
That's, is there anything that they should expect upcoming from us?
I mean, do you want to announce the games that are coming out, or do you just want those episodes to come out as they do?
Okay, so nothing major just yet.
No. I mean, we talked about Pree's bargain bin and doing IRL content, but everything's still on the whiteboard right now in the planning phase. We have a thing. We can have a brief side meeting real quick during the podcast if you want. I really want to reach out to DoorDash about the thing that we talked about. I don't know if you want. I don't know if you want them to directly be involved or not.
No.
I also don't. I also. Well, here's why I'm saying it. I also don't know if we can legally do what you said you want to do. I haven't seen any laws that say we can. But
I don't see why not.
But well, I mean, because like the tax write-off part of doing this and that at the same time.
Yeah.
But
we are doing the job and the job.
Yeah.
See,
we're doing DoorDash and we should be compensated for our time. But on the reverse side of that coin, back to coin side one, we could just have them involved from the jump if they want to be. I don't know what their involvement would look like, but I think it'd be pretty cool if they said yes.
I'm pretty sure they're going to say no because of how small we are.
Well, I mean, you never know.
Or do you think we should
we could do it a couple times and see if they want to actually formally do something.
Yeah, or take us down, formally take us down.
That's the other concern. What if they just block us from that service as a driver? We should read TOS. We should read TOS actually. We should read TOS.
If they don't know, then we're good, right?
Question.
Go ahead.
What do you think the branding of that video would look like? What do you think I have to put in the thumbnail to make that a popular video? Because you saying if they don't know, they're gonna know. They're gonna know. I have to put that name and that logo in the thumbnail somewhere to garner people willing to watch it.
Hey, you know what? We're gonna make that a pure education. That's gonna be purely educational. This is a test subject.
Demonetize our own videos, like take monetization off so they can't take it down.
Yeah, that's perfect, right? Whatever works.
That's how they could be involved. They could pay us and they could use our video to make a proper training video.
Hey, you know what? I would be completely down.
That sounds like a great idea.
To just have that.
Yeah. That's a video idea right there. Even if they don't participate, just general video idea.
We follow their driver's guideline. How about that, huh?
That sounds about as entertaining as I stop at every red light in GTA 5.
No. See, you know what the difference is? You haven't read the driver's guide, and I have.
Yeah?
And I will leave it at that.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Because you will see what type of requests and suggestions that they make.
I watched the video that they sent us.
And for us to do that, like do the video of us doing it, would make for a lot of content.
I think it'd be fun, like especially funny if, because the way that you and I DoorDash when we're together, because we trade off like turning on each other's apps, independent. The funny way to do that would probably be like, I have a boom mic with me, or I get a mic for my camera, and I'm just like reality show style filming you the entire time.
Dude, that'll be that.
Like,
you know?
like a Big Chumps Big Chumps documentary.
Hey, you know, that's honestly
kind of
completely acceptable in my eyes.
I'll add that to the whiteboard. That's actually a great idea. But I do have a story if you want to go for a little longer than the hour 15 mark we just hit, or hour 14.
Go ahead and story time.
So, you and I talked about this recently, and it's funny that it came up again today with a coworker and my mother independently. I talked about Andrew Tate, Ben Shapiro, and Jordan Peterson today.
Nice.
On 2 separate occasions. And I thought it was the funniest thing ever. Because my mother, she's very, like, in the know, but she doesn't deep dive stuff.
Yeah.
Like, my mom doesn't know what the word pog means. I say pog all the time, unironically.
Oh, I don't know what that word means. Wink, wink.
My auntie, who's 2 years older than me, she's like, "What's pog mean?" I'm like, I don't know, dude. Go ask your boyfriend. That's not a word you ask someone what it means. And my mom, same thing. My mom asks, like, what does pog mean? What is a Ben Shapiro? What is a Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
So I give my mom my honest opinion. I say, hey, Andrew Tate is this kind of guy. He speaks very, bluntly, very vulgarly, but I told her, because she was wondering if it was worth watching any of the TikToks of any of these 3 guys.
Yeah.
And I told her, don't emotionally listen to what they say. I 100% think that Andrew Tate and Ben Shapiro are very vulgar, and the way that they deliver the words that they say is it comes off very shitty and aggressive, like toxic masculinity, right? Aggressive. And you and I have had the same conversation about that. The way that they deliver it is very, like, they come off as a dickhead because sometimes the stuff that they're saying makes them the smartest guy in the room. More so Ben Shapiro than Andrew Tate. Because Andrew Tate's is very, like, subjective advice for men.
Yeah.
But regardless for both of those cases, I think it's worth noting that if you can unbiasedly listen to that, to what both of them say, if you can intelligently regurgitate what they said, what you think they intended to say, without being emotional, there's an argument to say there's an intelligent conversation that can be had there by everyone involved. And I was actually late to record this with you because I was on the phone with my mom for over an hour talking about it.
Oh, wow.
Because there's something to be said about the things that you don't want to hear being the things that make you think the most.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna make any decisive, like, claims, because this isn't the platform for that. I don't care what they say. I don't care what anyone thinks, because at the end of the day, what they say, what you say to me doesn't affect me as a human. It's the internet. People are gonna say whatever they feel like, right? So my mom and I were talking, like, The Guardian, the reason she brought it up to me, she asked who Andrew Tate was, is because The Guardian did an article saying that misogynistic piece of shit, whatever the headline was, Andrew Tate gets canceled on, what do they ban him on? Facebook?
I believe it's Instagram.
Really? It was Instagram.
I believe it was Instagram.
So it would be Facebook and Instagram then, because Meta owns both. So he got banned, and I was like, that's funny, actually. And she was like, why is it funny? And I started breaking down how I felt about the way that they say the things that they say. And she was like, oh, they don't sound like, chill people. I'm like, no, Mom, that's the point. The way that they deliver it makes them seem like fucking assholes, but if you listen to what they say, you could have an intelligent conversation with the next person about the topic. They genuinely make you think, instead of, like, if you're objectively looking at what they're saying without any iota of emotion in your heart, you can say, man, Andrew Tate might be onto something, why am I going to provide in this scenario when there's nothing being provided back to me? And I think it's interesting because if the things that Andrew Tate say are controversial or they're misogynistic, why am I hearing women say the same thing on a different platform or just on a different channel under a different tag? Like, clearly there's something there, because they're getting enough views to end up on my Instagram Reels timeline or my YouTube Shorts timeline, right? So there's something there. And the conclusion my mother came to was like, you know what? I'm going to clear my mind. I'm going to be as objective as I can be, and I'm going to watch Andrew Tate and Ben Shapiro. And I said, please do, and then come back to me. I want to know what you think about it now, after experiencing it. And I also gave her Jordan Peterson's name. I think Jordan Peterson says Jordan Peterson is what Ben Shapiro and Andrew Tate's words could be, if that's fair. I think some of the lessons that are thrown out there, spoken very calmly and cohesively by an older gentleman that has, was a psychology degree, a physics degree?
Yeah, psychology.
Psychology. He's a professor of psychology. If this older gentleman with a psychology degree, I don't remember what the degree is, but he's a professor, so he must be substantial. If he can say things that are relatively related to anything that either these generally disliked media creators are saying, there has to be some merit to what's being said. It's no coincidence that more than one person say the same thing, right?
Something like that, yeah.
So I think if given the chance, everyone should look at something objectively. Because my mom's threw out there, like, it's when you have an emotional stake in something, or you're generally emotional, that someone's words are easier to rile you up.
Okay.
So that was the conversation I had with my mom, and that was the general consensus with the coworker at work as well. And I thought it was very interesting that these two very different people, just starting that conversation with both of them, they both on their own came to that conclusion. I thought that was amazing. That these topics of general dislike were able to bring these two drastically different humans, by the way. The way my mother acts and the way this coworker acts, nothing alike. Nothing alike at all. Couldn't be more than different from each other. Not just, age-wise, but just personality-wise. So I thought that was a very interesting thing to happen. And I thought it was funny that I talked about Andrew Tate and Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson for the third time in a week. Also, my voice cracked there. That was awful. So I thought that was pretty funny, and I thought that was interesting, and I thought it was fun that I had an hour-long conversation with my mother, trying to articulate the way that things were said in a manner that was constructive to that conversation. And then, my mother come in the conclusion that I want to watch this to see what people are saying now.
Yeah, I honestly think those characters are definitely something that's kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Real head scratcher, if it so will,
Yeah, I mean, the very unfortunate part about Ben Shapiro and Andrew Tate. Take this commentary for what you will. And you agreed with me when I said this to you when we were talking about the subject. You have to be blunt in order to properly get your point across. Now the degree past being blunt is on you, right?
Yeah.
Like Andrew Tate's delivery is very much, it's infinitely more harsh than Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is very in your face, reading the Carfax kind of guy, right? He makes fun of it too. He's very lighthearted about it, but he's very blunt. He's having fun. He's making it lighthearted for his own sake. He's having fun with it because he knows the Carfax. He read it.
Yeah.
Andrew Tate also, he knows the Carfax of what he's talking about, and his delivery of it is very blunt, and sometimes it's a little intense. I won't lie. I personally don't care for Andrew Tate if I'm gonna give my honest opinion, but I would be a liar if I said he didn't get me to think about the things he's talking about. So that's my take. Hot or not.
I like to take every other company's approach to anything that deals with such of cancel.
Yeah.
Not part of it.
No, yeah. Well, and that's why I said earlier at the top of the conversation, anything you say as a viewer of this podcast, as a viewer of Andrew Tate's content, Ben Shapiro's content, your commentary has no bearing on my life. I don't care. And that's not saying I don't care about you. I probably don't. If I met you and you became my friend, I probably would. It's the internet. People are going to say what they are going to say. You can't stop them. We made it an open platform for a reason. So if you get canceled for saying what you want to say, that's fine. But also, what's the point? What's the point of being mad about something someone said on the internet? Just don't involve yourself with them. Don't engage. I think Switzerlanding yourself is very much an appropriate response.
Sorry, I laughed at that one.
What?
No, you're Switzerland.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Seriously, and it could be there. I think there's varying degrees of Switzerland, right? Because you can Switzerland by being positive to two or more parties, right? You can be neutral to two or more parties. You could also be negative to two or more parties, as long as it's indiscriminately being negative to everyone. But the best outcome is to be neutrally uninvolved, completely. And I've even had that conversation in a different aspect with a friend recently, where they were using the word hate, right?
Hate, very
hate.
Strong word.
Very strong word. Can you positively say there's anyone you hate in your life? 100% say you hate them.
No, me personally.
And they're active. And I said the same thing. In part, this is just me, by the way. That everyone else could process it differently. You might just not hate anyone in general. If I can say that I hate you, you're not in my life. Therefore, I can't hate you because you don't exist in my life. The word hate is a paradox. Does that make sense?
That's a head scratcher, if I do say so myself.
Because if I hate someone, that means I genuinely detest them. They are the intense amount of distaste for a human to cause you to say you hate them is so intense. I can 100% tell you 5 or 6 people that I could use that word for, right? Those people haven't been involved in my life for years at this point. Years. Half of that list, close to a decade or more.
That's a lot.
Right. And it's like, this friend was talking about how they hate 2 people. They were talking about 2 people. One of them was someone they got involved with, and the other one was someone that was involved with their family at a younger age, but are no longer involved, right?
Yeah.
And I was trying to articulate, hey, well, you are a grown adult. there's no reason for you to say that you hate hate the person involved with your family, because that person has no bearing on your life anymore. If you don't like that human, if the things that they did, just because the things that they did still affect you and or your family, that doesn't mean that you have to hate them. That's what they did is going to continue to be a byproduct of their involvement until you die, probably. Unfortunately. But that doesn't mean that their voice, their image, even their name needs to be in your mind at all. At all. You can choose who is in your life as an adult. And even as a kid, you can technically choose who's in your life, right? We did it all the time. I don't want to play with Timmy. Timmy picks his boogers and shoves them up his butt. I don't like Timmy. Does that mean I have to sit next to Timmy every day at school? No. I could tell the teacher, teacher, I don't want to sit next to Timmy. I don't want to see Timmy at lunch. I'm going to stay away from Timmy. Teacher's probably, so there's no conflict, going to move me away from Timmy, right?
Yeah, you know, that's the hope of our story here.
That's the rationale behind saying I don't want to be near this human. So
yeah.
the person that you're communicating your distaste with will hopefully assist you in not being upset.
Yeah.
And like as a kid, if it's a family related situation, I get it. You can't get away from it because, you know, not everyone has that much control over their lives as a child, as an adolescent, as a teenager.
Yeah.
But for this specific person, I was telling them that family related person has no bearing on your life anymore. For you to say that you hate them means you're holding on to malice. You're hurting yourself. Whereas you can just choose to not acknowledge their existence. Therefore, you have no reason to hate. Therefore, you will feel better in general. Your mood will feel better. And then the person that they got romantically involved with, they weren't even sure if they wanted to be, or if they wanted to hate that person. Because they still had communication with them on social media. They still had their number. Like, nothing was blocked. Nothing was removed. And I told them, I'm like, well, you can't say that you hate this person if you're not sure then. That doesn't sound like hate. That sounds like you're on the fence and that you are somehow emotionally afflicted by this person. But that doesn't mean you hate them, because guess what? If you hated them, they wouldn't exist.
Man, if I could say that, I hate you, you gone. You know, just like that.
Seriously, I mean, seriously. Like, if you think about it, as an adult, it's not that hard to cut someone out of your life. It's not. I'm sorry. And this friend and another friend, because it was a 3-person group chat, both of them were telling me that life isn't that black and white and emotions aren't that black and white. And I said, yeah, you're right. Emotions aren't that black and white, but guess what? If you get a splinter, if you injure yourself, if you are mildly inconvenienced, let alone hurt by something, you are going to remove that problem from your life or do something to alleviate it, right?
That's the story of depression. But yeah, yeah, that's the hope.
Well, I mean, in a matter you can control, right?
Yeah.
If I have a headache, what do you think I'm gonna go do?
You know, you're gonna take Advil, you know, drink some water.
Exactly. Or I'm gonna sleep it off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something to remedy my ailment in that moment. Obviously, this ideology doesn't apply. Like if I broke my arm or I lost an arm, or you know, my dad shot my dog and then the dog shot my dad as they were both dying. You know, it's not that simple for those kind of situations. But if something is causing you pain or discomfort and you have the ability to change that affliction, you're going to. No one wants to be in pain. No one wants to hurt or suffer. So I thought it was a very interesting topic to be like, hey, why can you say that you hate people? Why wouldn't you want to go be happy? That's just me though. That is how I felt about it. And I think the same thing applies to, you know, communications online. You have no bearing on my life. Nothing you say or do is going to affect me. Yeah, you can shit talk me on the internet all the time, and sometimes people do go a little overboard, like doxing and showing up at creators' houses or in public with them and whatever. Don't be an asshole. PSA, don't be an asshole. Just don't be an asshole. But if we're talking about the things that people say on the internet, nothing you say or do is going to hurt me because you're uninvolved in my situation or the things that I say and do, right?
Yeah,
And if you don't like what I say, and this isn't to deter anyone from watching in the future, by the way, not every conversation is going to be about Andrew Tate or Ben Shapiro or just bad vibes in general. We like to have intelligent conversations between each other. If you don't like the things that I say or do, in general, not specifically me right now in this moment, but in general, if you don't like the things I say and do, please, I encourage you in the nicest way possible, don't watch my content. That means it's not for you. And if anyone that I talk to as a friend feels that the things that I say or do aren't their speed, I'm going to encourage them too. Like, hey, maybe me being your friend isn't the best option then. Because you're not always going to be someone's favorite flavor at Baskin Robbins, you know?
You know, one day you're going to be a Mississippi Mud, you know?
Yeah, there's 30 other flavors. Like, go lick on the other ice cream cone for a little bit. If you don't like something, you're not going to go for it. I don't order the fucking guacamole Big Burger from Carl's Jr. You know, I'm going to go order the big chicken sandwich with Swiss cheese and bacon because I want that today. The same thing applies to social interactions. If you don't want something, it doesn't need to be in your face. You don't need to get it. You don't need to buy into it. That's my TED Talk for today.
And that leads us into the name of our podcast, Chump Change, where we give our 2 cents.
Oh, that's pretty good, actually. That's a good subtitle. Are we already switching, pivoting from on episode 1 from Chump Chat to Chump Change?
It might be that that might be the play.
Honestly, I'm down with it, and I haven't started editing or making a thumbnail, so we can pivot already.
All right, there you go.
I'll send it to the focus groups and see what they think. I know for a fact that I was the big talker, but also you're focusing on Peggle.
Man, if you've seen how many times I have retried a level, the number is pretty high.
Don't worry, I have an hour and a half plus to watch through your Peggle playthrough.
It's a lot of Peggle, man. I think I'm almost done with this Peggle, as in the game.
The game itself, Peggle 1?
Yeah, I'm almost done with Peggle 1's adventure. So okay, I might have to move to Peggle Nights, the sequel, in the next podcast.
Yeah, and then we're going to have to find you another game, because it sounds like you're probably going to blast through that one too.
Yeah, I might have to play Solitaire.
Or Balloons. You like Balloons? There's a lot of Balloons.
I'd play Balloons on a podcast.
You know what? I'm willing to play Balloons with you.
Okay, well, hold on now. Then that poor podcast... We're not even gonna podcast. It's just gonna be.
I mean, I could just feed you money, or you could have the second ability monkey. You know.
There you go. That might be a better decision.
You already know I'm not that invested in balloons. I'm a very passive balloons player.
You know, I love balloons. You know, I'll just put down Quincy, and then we'll just get it going. You know.
Yeah, no, I had a feeling in some of your silent moments you were over there focusing on Peggle, so that's why I kept vamping.
Yes, yeah, honestly, great decision on your part.
Yeah, no, it's... Might have to give you a day off every podcast or so, just so you could lead the chat a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know, I think it's fine, because I'll switch off. I'll play a game while you lead the chat, you know? Do a Minecraft Let's Play.
Oh, yeah. That'll be perfect.
I think this is a good stopping point then. I think an hour and a half is a bit long, but it's a good pilot, you know, a little extra content for the first one.
Nice.
Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. This has been Chump Change, where we give you our 2 cents. I've been Lorenzo, or GarboArtist.
And I have been Pree, the guy playing Peggle.
And we'll see you next week for more random and we'll see you next week for more random conversations and or Peggle nights, depending on which one takes precedent there.
Bye-bye.